Broadcasting from the KC Coyote Studios, you're listening to Kearney Live on 102.7 KPGZ. Kearney Live is presented by Kearney Trust Company. Kearney Trust, 310 West 92 Highway in Kearney. The phone number is 816-628-6666. And now here's the hosts of Kearney Live, Mike Davis and Jim Dickerson.
And welcome to Kearney Live. That was me that cleared my throat a minute ago.
At least we know your throat is clear.
Right, exactly. Mics are on, folks. Yeah, so welcome to Kearney Live. I am your host, Mike Davis, along with Jim Dickerson and producer-engineer Brian Watts, who's the hardest working man on the planet. Nobody works as hard as Brian Watts. We have a room full of people this morning. We've got the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistance Team. We've got Les Kerr and A.J. Carrel, along with them, their groupie, I'm told, Jim Murray, who is also, I guess, rather fond of this organization. And Jim, I think I'll just ask you first, why on earth would you like this organization as much as you do? What is it that they do that makes them so special in your mind?
Well, in my business, we interact with law enforcement all the time, and we have been often touched by seeing an officer die in the line of duty. Mm-hmm. And this team does a phenomenal job. When that happens, they make sure that officer has the dignity he deserves during the darkest time of his family's life. And they're there not only for the officer, but for the family. And that means something to me. So I got involved with this. And, Les and AJ and I, we go back a number of years. And I saw what they were doing. And I said, I have the ability and the time to go out and help. So I became their groupie.
Well, and it looks like for very good reason. Now, and I'll ask you, Les, I'm on the Facebook. Sorry, I do have your Facebook page open, but I have your website open. It's mopolicefuneral.org. And I would ask you, are these... do you do all of the funeral arrangements, or is this escorts, or how does this work? Tell me about that.
Well, we can do a variety of that and all of the above, mm-hmm. Depending on what the agency and the family request. Most often when we come in, we are requested to basically handle all of that. So we meet with the agency, we meet with the family, mm-hmm. get their wishes and desires for the funeral, and then we take and implement that, working with the funeral home, the agency, and start making those plans, and that's from top to bottom.
Right. I thought you had a question there, Jim.
No, I have no...
Jim is ill-prepared.
I have no responsibility here whatsoever.
Well, none of us really do when it comes right down to it.
I haven't cleared my throat yet, so I don't feel like
You're not going to let me forget that one, are you? Yeah,
that.
Well, that's, we're paid professionals, A.J. Carrel is with us as well. And A.J., what is your role with the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistant Team?
I'm the assistant team leader for the western side of Missouri.
Mm-hmm. And what does that mean exactly? What are your duties as it applies to the specifically when a funeral happens?
Duties as assigned.
That's a nice way to put it.
Well, yeah, basically whatever anybody needs you to do.
Carries less luggage.
Right. And normally my job and function is outside operations, mm-hmm. For the day of the funeral and visitation.
And tell me what that means in civilian language. Are you helping with traffic flow? Explain what's in a day's work.
We assign parking. We meet with all the businesses, local mm-hmm. businesses, let them know the steady flow of traffic that's going to be in the area,
right?
And the best route in, the safe routes in.
Mm-hmm. Are you one of the motorcycle escorts then?
I will be in a vehicle.
I see.
That day.
Right, escort. Right.
So you laugh when you say that. Did you try the motorcycle and it didn't work out that well, or what happened?
I just know the outcome of it.
Outstanding. I understand.
Yeah, he don't need to be on a motorcycle.
Don't let AJ fool you. He is an integral part of the team. Mm-hmm. He's my sounding board. He's my the little advocate on my shoulder, if you will.
I know that one. I know the other advocate too, and that one's not so nice.
Right. But
yeah,
it takes a full team, and when we respond, these are usually on average of about 5 days in preparation.
Oh wow!
Working 14 to 18 hours a day, just pretty much around the clock, nonstop. to carry out a funeral and get all the planning done.
So what's the criteria? What is it that triggers you guys into action? Because I know there's certain funerals that are covered by agencies themselves and that sort of thing. So what's the criteria that gets you guys involved?
That is usually a phone call, an email from that agency that says, we're overwhelmed. We don't know what we're doing. We need help. Can you come help us? Larger agencies probably are not going to use us because they have significant manpower. Kansas City, St. Louis County, those type of agencies are probably not going to call us. But most other agencies, we would anticipate that happening. And they should, because small enough agencies, you have a personal interest and vested relationships that sometimes are tough to overcome with the grief that goes along with that.
Right. So you talked about St. Louis. So this is more than a regional. I mean, when you say you're the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistant Team, that means that covers the entire state of Missouri. Does it ever go over to the Kansas side or beyond?
You're right. It does cover the entire state. Just 2 weeks ago, we were in St. Louis County for the funeral of Officer Michael Langsdorff from the North County Police Cooperative. We worked with them and put that funeral together for them. We've offered on several agencies in Kansas. They've got a good group of folks over there that kind of do the similar thing. They don't have a formalized team, but we have provided assistance to them before, but never to where we've actually been asked to come in and conduct the entire service.
Right. As I sort of get my mind wrapped around what you guys are doing here, in effect, this is event planning. It's not an exciting event by any stretch. It's a tragedy, and you're dealing with people's emotions and all manner of everything that comes along with an untimely death, particularly a fallen officer. What are some of the pitfalls, and what are the things that you guys sort of help take care of, so that those pitfalls don't become a problem on that important day?
As little as parking sounds to some folks, of, hey, we just pull into a parking lot and we'll leave when we're ready. Just organizing something that small is actually a big part of a service and event of any magnitude. Making sure everybody goes out at the correct time. The family's taken care of. They're not sitting in vehicles waiting for law enforcement to line up, and all the way down to having somebody stand guard at a door for a dignitary that's coming in to speak to the family.
Right. I can well imagine that whether you were trained in it or not, there is some level of grief counseling associated with what you guys do. Listen, we all sort of think of law enforcement police officers as the stoic, they're the ones that take care of business. They're out on the front lines. They're the first to arrive, and they have that sort of attitude that just, we'll take care of this, very businesslike. But I'm sure there are those touching moments with families where you get involved in some interaction with them. Do you have any examples of times like that, or can you kind of help me through the training or how you handle those moments?
You're absolutely right. You become very close with the families in particular. At the worst time in their life, you are there to help them. And we try not to be grief counselors for a variety of reasons. One, we're not trained in grief counseling, although A.J. is a peer counselor, and so he often does end up working with officers and dispatchers who may have been working that call.
I see.
But for the simple fact that there is really not enough time while we're on site going through planning a funeral,
right?
That we just don't have the time to sit down and do a full-on grief counseling session. But we can refer them to people that we are familiar with and that we work with.
Yeah.
On a regular
So primarily,
basis.
you're involved in the logistics of getting this thing done,
right?
And seeing it through without a hitch, and as most professionals do, you probably make it look pretty easy.
Well, our goal when we go in, again, we're there at the request of the agency, and we prefer to be behind the scenes as much as possible. And if community doesn't know who we are when we're there, we've done our job.
Good. Yeah, no, I understand completely. Tell me a little bit about the history of the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistance Team. When did you get started, and how did you get started?
It actually started over in the St. Louis area.
Oh, really?
In 2008, shortly after the Kirkwood City Hall shootings in 2007, when they lost 2 officers. And they came to realize very quickly that there was no assistance, and in a smaller agency like that they could not handle that request. So the team was the concept of Scott Barthelmess, who was with the Overland Police Department in the St. Louis area, come up with the concept of that, and as it spread across the state, I became involved in 2009, and in 2010 I took over the leadership of the team here in the western side of Missouri, and then Scott's still involved as our founder and president of the board, but has kind of stepped away from the day-to-day operations, and I run that now statewide.
I see.
We did our first line of duty death funeral with our team here in the Kansas City, Western Missouri side in 2011. Was Officer Jeff Taylor from Riverside Police Department, who was struck by lightning down in Joplin during the tornado.
Oh, I remember this now. Yeah, wow.
And so when you guys actually do a funeral, how many people do you physically have involved at any given time?
On our team, we will usually have anywhere from 8 to 15, depending on who's available to respond. That's on our actual planning team, but it takes hundreds to implement and carry this out, from honor guards that stand 24-hour vigil with that officer from the time of their death until the time that their service is, to the honor guards who stand at the casket during visitation during the service, to the people that are helping assist with parking, you name it, and there's literally hundreds of people that it takes to carry this out.
And then where do you, the next question obviously would be, where do you get the staff for that? I mean, where do you get the people?
It's all volunteer. Every one of these people volunteer their time. Our immediate team, the actual members of the team, it's all volunteer. Most of them are in the law enforcement community somehow or some way. We do have a couple of survivors, family members of officers who were killed in the line of duty that have joined our team. We have a spouse of an officer that wanted to do something and give back and is on our team. Yeah. But yeah, everybody, and nobody is paid. It's all volunteer staff.
Wow. In the meantime, though, you are full-time with the organization, right?
I am not.
Oh,
no.
You're not. Okay.
No, I have a full-time day job, and I just do this on free time.
And you're a volunteer.
Absolutely.
Well, bless your heart. Wow, that's fantastic. And then AJ, are you on the payroll? Are you on the staff?
Well, like Les alluded to, none of us get paid from the actual team.
Nobody does.
I'm actually a sheriff's deputy in Clinton County.
Okay.
And I have the opportunity, and my boss allows me to be on this team, and continues my pay, my 8 hours of pay, if I'm deployed. So that's not everybody's as lucky as that on the team.
Yeah.
And we just move forward with
good
it.
for him.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Nice little shout out for the Clinton County Sheriff there. So we'll do that.
No doubt.
And then
about
what
that.
do you do for your full-time job, did you say?
I work for the federal government.
And that's all you want to say about that, I understand.
That's all I'm allowed to say.
I have no more questions.
we were instructed not to mention it before the show.
Oh, were we?
Yeah, you weren't here.
Oh, I wasn't here for that part. I don't show up till the last second.
That's the sort of little segment that people are just we're gonna completely distract them from everything we've done so far.
That's
but
what I'm here
it's
for.
It's really interesting.
Let me
nonetheless.
let me recover. So what do you do?
I am a private investigator, and I teach self-defense and firearms.
And that's Jim Murray. And Jim, you're one of our neighbors here in the building at right here in Kearney, Missouri, right?
Right. I'm a Kearney local. I live here. I work here. My office is right downstairs, which the bank kind of likes that because I get to run around with a gun on my side.
Yeah, we like it too.
I wonder, the bank seems pretty safe these days.
Absolutely.
We say that. Of course, everybody knows we're in the studio now.
Yeah,
so.
no doubt about that.
But there's guys down there. I saw them.
And Jim, how are you involved in any of the logistics on those unfortunate funeral days? Have you been involved in any of those?
No, I have not been involved in the funerals. I work with especially the motorcycle ride. I'm another thing. Motorcycles are my interest, and I'm the director of the Ararat Shrine Motor Corps.
Oh,
so
wow.
motorcycles are a big part of my life.
And do you ride with the Shriners?
Yeah, I've been the director several years now. So,
I have seen those guys. You guys ride.
Yeah. You're on the big motorcycles, right? You're
Right.
not on the little scooters running around where they run into each other. And all.
I think y'all have a friend of mine, Steve Barnhart, I think, with Barnhart Security, does some stuff with you. Steve, when I first came into the motor course, but I've been there since 1999, so I've been around a long time on motorcycles. And when they were having this ride, and I contacted Les, and I'm like, hey, I'd like to get involved in that. So now for the motorcycle ride we've got coming up, I actually had the pleasure and the honor of setting up the route, and it's going to be a heck of a ride if you enjoy it.
Let's talk about that. We're going to take a short break. You're listening to Kearney Live. We have the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistant Team with us in studio today. Stay with us through this break. We'll be right back.
Corporate underwriters of KPGZ programming include these fine businesses.
Kearney Trust Company is uniquely Kearney. They opened their doors in 1882 and have been financing goals and dreams ever since. Kearney Trust has a team of experienced lenders and a qualified staff to assist you with all of your financial needs. Your success is their priority. Whether you're looking for traditional checking and savings services, or you need cash management, mobile banking, mortgage, or lending services, Kearney Trust will provide you and your business with the resources you need to succeed. Information, speed, and convenience are all valuable commodities in our fast-paced world. For Kearney Trust Company, technology is an addition to, not a replacement for the personal banking relationship they like to have with their customers. The people of Kearney Trust Company focus on and try to fit the needs of all their customers. Kearney Trust Company is your partner for success with 2 convenient locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone number is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
Kearney Live, there we are. Welcome back to Kearney. That's all right, Brian. You got a lot to do. In fact, I just want to mention the sponsor of this program is Kearney Trust Company. And if for those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, you may have noticed a little video that played during the spot for Kearney Trust Company. And thanks so much for their sponsorship. And thanks so much to Scott Middleton and your entire team over there at Kearney Trust Company as we were in there on, I believe, Monday, was it? Monday, with a video camera. And folks were just as happy as they possibly could be.
That's not entirely accurate.
Well, there was one.
You were there with a whole video production crew and the sound crew and the lighting people and the staff and all that stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't all that. But anyway,
it's a production.
The video went off splendidly, and we're very happy about that. So, but thanks to the folks at Kearney Trust Company for sponsoring Kearney Live. We appreciate you. We are visiting today with the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistance Team, and we've got Les Kerr, A.J. Carrel, and their biggest cheerleader, Jim Murray, sitting in studio with us today. Unless I know, since there are so many volunteers in your organization, I have to imagine that are you a 501c3? Are you a nonprofit organization or what?
We are a 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay, so and with volunteers, it would presumably it would indicate to me that you have to do some fundraising. Is that right?
That's correct. When we go out on these deployments, it takes a significant amount to get people there, feed them, house them, and then also the materials that and items that we would use during a deployment. It takes money to do that kind of stuff,
no doubt.
We do all of that through fundraising.
Absolutely. And so, getting to the fundraiser, Jim, do you want to tell us a little bit? We're here also to talk about the fundraising aspect of this because we have a motorcycle run that is scheduled for. I'll let you tell us about it.
Okay, July 20th, we're going to leave the Kansas City Police Academy, which is over by Shoal Creek. At 10 o'clock in the morning, kickstands up. This is a 92-mile ride. We're going to go out 210. We'll cut through Rayville out there. And it's a back roads. It's going to be mostly back roads, and it takes about 2 hours. It's an escorted ride. So if you've never been on an escorted ride, we have Jackson counties coming, several, and Les can talk more about who the escorts are going to be. Mm-hmm. But several police agencies, their motorcycles will be escorting the ride. You won't stop for traffic. Traffic will be held. And I know there's some people say, well, we don't want that ride here. And we're going to be mostly on the back roads.
Right.
We're going to end up at Worth Harley-Davidson. We're going to have lunch. We're going to have a silent auction. There are going to be prizes, door prizes. It's really a good time, and it's not very expensive. And when it's all said and done at the end of the day, it helps this team go out again and provide the dignity that an officer and his family deserves, and that's what it's all about.
You betcha, no doubt about it. So this ride is open to any rider, and hopefully you've ridden in groups like this, so you've got some experience. And any bike is welcome, and certainly we would expect that there is a fee associated with it. Where can they go to find out? Is there a website or someplace where we can send them to get signed up for this ride?
It's on the funeral team list. You want to jump in just any time now and help us out with that?
Yeah, it's on our Facebook page. You can access that from there, but the link to the registration is molefat2019.eventbrite.com.
Oh, okay. And I see also here, I just went over to the Facebook page, and it says Bike Fundraiser. In fact, Jim Murray, this is your Facebook. Yes, Jim. Sorry, I had to put together some names and faces here, but yeah, Jim, this is your Facebook page. So anybody that wants to get all the information on there, it's got the pricing, it's got the ride start time, and so forth. The registrant, actually, you need to be registered before June 23rd to get a T-shirt. Is that right?
It can't June 23rd.
That's correct. The early bird registration and to be guaranteed a T-shirt was by June 23rd. Okay, you can still register, and we will have a limited number of T-shirts available for sale. But if you registered prior to June 23rd,
I was going to make sure that was correct.
Okay, and we give the price, Brian? Do we want to give the price on the air for that? Let's not do it. Yeah, we have some FCC restrictions on that with LP FM.
Because you can sure look at it on the Facebook page.
Yes, you can. Yeah, let's do that.
And
but,
just to clarify, because if you guys don't know, Mike rides bikes too, but it's a different kind of bike, like with the pedals and whatnot. And he a couple of weekends ago ran in the Opal Wapu race, and he rode, and he was in the Baby Poo. If you guys didn't hear about it,
right? Yeah,
and he completed it.
20 miles. 20 miles on hilly gravel.
I just want to make sure that he doesn't show up with his little bike trying to keep up with you guys, because it's a whole different thing.
Totally different kind of bike.
So it needs to be a bike with like
a motor.
Right. Yeah. Exactly right.
Sorry, Mike.
No, that's fine. And as you know, Jim, I used to have one of those kinds of bikes.
I'm well aware.
I'm out of that recreational aspect of my life.
One thing that we really want to stress is you do not have to be a police officer. You do not have to be in law enforcement to ride with us.
Right.
You don't have to have a Harley. It's a Harley or Honda. There I go with the throat clearing thing.
Might as well.
Gets us choked up. I don't know about that. So come out. There'll be the Can-Ams with the 3 wheels on them.
Love those. Yeah.
There'll be a lot of those. So
easy there, Jim. You need some water?
Good God. No, I brought my own. I was afraid you guys wouldn't give me any. So, but just come out and it's really a good time, and you are with just a great group of people to be with, and come out and support a good cause and have a good day out having fun.
So if someone comes out and they don't have a motorcycle, let's say, for example, can they still donate and maybe meet at the end, or how does that work?
Yeah, and I was going to touch on that as well. Like Jim alluded to, the rides are roughly about 2 hours. So we're looking to probably be at Worth Harley-Davidson, I would say, between 12 and 1.
And I guess we should clarify, which Worth Harley-Davidson do you guys end up at?
Well, there's really only one.
Okay.
It's
which location do you
Tiffany Springs area,
right up here by the airport.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Yeah, we're, like you said, we're going to have food, live music. We have Michelle Hawkins singing.
I see that.
Food.
Yeah.
And it's just a great place to hang out, good atmosphere. And even if you don't like to ride bikes, but you like to look at them, bring your kids out, look at the motorcycles.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the police officers. We'll have a bunch of stuff on display as well.
And if you show up there at the Harley location, is there a way to contribute? I mean, when you get there, you could donate, even though you didn't take place in the ride?
Absolutely. T-shirts will be for sale, raffle, silent auction. If you just want to make a cash donation or a contribution, you can do that as well.
Excellent. So the location of that is off of, I can't remember the address. I know it's off Tiffany there.
It's just
actually the address. It's not the road isn't even Tiffany.
Prairie View Road.
Is it Prairie View?
right. There you go.
Yeah. And it's not it's the one that's off the highway off I-29. It's not like the facility that's off of Ambassador or whatever.
Right.
Just you can see it off of I-29.
Make sure you go to the right place.
Right.
It's the one with the stage. If you've driven by on the highway and seen the stage, that's where it is.
Yeah, I think anybody who, certainly if you've been up north, and you ride a bike, you know where the Harley-Davidson
just south of the
stores,
Tiffany
yeah.
Springs exit on Prairie View Road.
Okay, very good.
And you don't have to ride alone. You can, just so you know, if you want to bring your wife, my wife will be riding with me. I'll actually be riding in the ride.
Great.
So, you can bring your wife or girlfriend. Don't bring them both at the same time. That usually causes problems. But
that was, we just really needed a little a drum roll on that. That was
The sad part
good.
is,
I know.
that hit so close to home.
I told Brian he should be
Everybody
nervous.
paused for just a minute.
It's funny. Us guys think that's funny, but our
Yeah,
wives,
there's a bunch-
nope.
I was going to say, there's a bunch of people right now going,
Thinking this
not
is
funny.
yeah.
Not funny at
I
all.
know Jim's wife. He's going to suffer for that when he gets home tonight.
exactly.
Not as bad as when you said she wore a preemie size.
Okay.
I'm not even going to touch it. Yep. Well, Jim, you said that you ride with the Shriners, and I'm just, as a former motorcycle rider, I can tell you I have the highest respect for that. Actually, the highest respect for police motorcycle riders, because those guys are about as good as they get. And short of that, I mean, the guys in the Shriners, I've seen the figure eight drills, and we're talking about really, really tight confines of a figure eight. And I don't know how many bikes, just coming within inches of each other, big, shiny motorcycles, making one of the toughest maneuvers there is to make. Tell me a little bit about your motorcycle training and how you got there.
We pretty much grow our own. I went into the Motor Corps in 1999. My guy he's actually my best friend and has been my road partner for 20 years. He was there a couple years ahead of me. We went out to the practice field, and he literally made me ride until I fell down. We practiced, the way we practiced moving in and out of traffic was go to chief traffic. When traffic's moving, we got in and out of that. And it's really a matter of trust. I have had the pleasure of, we won the regional championships many years. I lost count. And I'm one of the few guys that have been on the international championship team, and I believe it was 2004 or 5. We placed number 3 in the world. So,
outstanding.
So Kansas City has a lot of pride with that, with the motorcycles and what we do. And it's practice and trust, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to show up every time for practice, because if you don't, you can get somebody hurt. I think at one time there wasn't one of us that hadn't been to the hospital. So
Oh, wow.
we've been there a few times.
Well, and nobody wants to drop a bike. Now, as I recall, didn't the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department used to have sort of a bike training expo where you could actually go over to, I believe, Arrowhead Stadium. Now, this is a number of years ago, but it seemed to me that you could actually go out there and run the course that the police officers run.
They did, and they're doing some of that again
Mm-hmm.
on a limited basis now, but they coordinate that on the practice field actually up at Worth Harley-Davidson.
Oh, I see.
The Missouri
Okay.
State Patrol, and I believe is actually who heads that up now, that
Right.
brings them out to do that, the riders course.
And it was quite a challenge. AJ, you were shaking your head yes when I was talking about that, about the challenge of that course.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to go out and watch Kansas City Motors when they put on a training, and
Right.
you know, it's kind of like the jumping out of a perfectly good plane thing. Why are you laying down a perfectly good bike
Right, exactly.
to pass a course? It's
Yes.
I will say, just from history, and we'll leave it at that, kind of like you. I'm not
Right.
allowed to talk about it. But Kansas City's motorcycle squad for years and years was like the premier training. And I know that when
Go ahead, you let it out now.
you would have presidential visits and that sort of thing. The way that Kansas City did the motorcades and all that was actually they would train other departments around, and they're really good at it. So that's all I've got to say about that. But I will say why are you laughing, Brian? I will say that going back to what Jim said over here, it is it's not as easy as it looks. It is a skill, and I will tell you, the courses that you guys set out, and there's a lot of YouTube on it if you want to watch, but the courses that you guys set out, the turns and the skill of
Right.
of being able to do it, not put the bike down, make the
Right.
do all that. It is complete control, and it's really impressive to watch.
Right. One of the when I first started riding, and I took the motorcycle safety course, I think one of the first things the instructor said was that any idiot can ride a motorcycle 70 miles an hour down the highway.
That's not entirely accurate, because I am idiot.
Well, and the hard part is driving a great big heavy bike slowly in traffic, in a parking lot, in places where it's tight, in places where you have one place and one place only to go, or you run into something.
Well, and those bikes are not light.
No,
I mean, I don't.
No.
What do you remember what they weigh?
Mine weighs,
I know they vary, but
right at with all the equipment on mine, probably right around 1,000 pounds.
so
Yeah, if you
that's
drop it, it's hard to pick it
That's
up.
a lot of weight falling
Right,
over
right.
if you start to lose it. So
Yes.
it's not like a dirt bike. When I used to ride dirt, I mean, you throw it, it's like a bicycle, and you pick it up and you're on your way. But
Yeah.
We train for picking them up. And just quickly, I will tell you the secret about riding motorcycles. That motorcycle is going to go where you look. If you look down at the ground, you'll typically fall over.
Right.
Look where you want the bike to go. You'll typically
I do that
be
when I
okay.
walk.
So,
I didn't used to, but I do
On a
now.
regular basis, I don't think. Well, I think there's truth to that. In fact, I know there's truth to that, Jim. And if you think about, anything, even like throwing a rock and throwing a baseball, you look where you want the thing to go. And I think if you're looking down the road, even in your car, by the way, stop looking right down in front of the end of your vehicle. Look way down the road. And you're going to see a whole lot more down there, and you're probably it's going to be a lot easier to steer that machine. I'm just curious, what kind of bike are you riding?
it's a Harley-Davidson Ultra Classic, which is what we call a full dresser. That the entire team for years, the entire team had to have them exactly the same nuts, bolts, everything had to match perfectly. We've kind of gotten away from that because we don't have as many riders as we used to.
I see.
But we were competing in Denver, and we actually had to, when we lined up for inspection, the valve stems had to be in the exact same position.
Goodness,
that's how serious this was. It was serious,
like the Blue Angels.
Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty impressive.
Right.
But I will say too, riding the motorcycles, the big ones like that, I never did. It wasn't the motorcycle because I rode the dirt bike stuff, but I felt a little safer out there because I didn't have to worry about getting hit by a car. I'm more, if I were riding today like you guys are, I'm more worried about other drivers than I am falling over or anything like that. I know we harp on it over and over and over again. I don't know what else we can do to tell drivers to look out for motorcycles. And we say that, they don't even look out for cars. You got people pulling out in front of trucks.
We have a covenant to not run into each other out on the road.
Well, it's not really followed all the time.
Not at all. And please be careful. Be careful.
New Hampshire, 2 weeks ago, 7 United States Marines were killed by a driver that crossed into the lane, took out 7 motorcycles. It does happen. Man. And I'll stress that, folks, please, if you're out there, watch for motorcycles. You see the signs in people's yards. You see that. I can't think of the times that somebody has pulled out in front of me. But I'm still sitting here, so...
There are precious few motorcycle owners who don't also own a car. There are some people that don't own cars, that they're 100% always on the bike. And I'm sure you know some. We're visiting today with the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistant Team. You're listening to Kearney Live. We're going to take a short break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You love the programming? Say a special thank you to the underwriters like these who support KPGZ.
Kearney Trust Company is uniquely Kearney. They opened their doors in 1882 and have been financing goals and dreams ever since. Kearney Trust has a team of experienced lenders and a qualified staff to assist you with all of your financial needs. Your success is their priority. Whether you're looking for traditional checking and savings services, or you need cash management, mobile banking, mortgage, or lending services, Kearney Trust will provide you and your business with the resources you need to succeed. Information, speed, and convenience are all valuable commodities in our fast-paced world. For Kearney Trust Company, technology is an addition to, not a replacement for the personal banking relationship they like to have with their customers. The people of Kearney Trust Company focus on and try to fit the needs of all their customers. Kearney Trust Company is your partner for success with 2 convenient locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone number is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
And we're back on Kearney Live. We're visiting today with the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistance Team. We've got Les Kerr and A.J. Carrel, who are volunteers of said organization. And Jim Murray is also with us. And Jim is one of their biggest fans. No, I think he is their biggest fan. And Jim rides with the... You were also a law enforcement motorcycle cop, right?
No.
No, you didn't do that
No,
either?
no.
Have you not been paying attention? We covered this.
I get an F minus. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I was thinking that, but he'd throw me out if I said
F minus. No, well, there's a lot to cover here on my end of this thing too. But because I do my show prep as I get through the shows, that's the way it works. But I do know this for a fact: there is a bike ride, a motorcycle bike ride. Don't show up with your pedaling bike; it ain't going to work. You won't be able to keep up. But it is going to be the. Let me get the date on that, Jim. Do you know the date?
Yep.
Go ahead and let me have that date, Jim.
That's July. Nope, I was wrong. I don't have my glasses.
July 20th.
Good grief. It looked like a 30 to me. No, it's Saturday, July 20th. But the information's on Facebook. It's on
Jim Murray,
your Facebook page.
Correct.
But let's go ahead and tell people how are the different ways they can learn more about the ride, and then the different, because we've talked about it. And the one thing we don't want to do is make people think you have to have a motorcycle or you have to have a Harley to be involved. Anybody can be involved, and even if you don't do the ride, you can still go to the Harley up on I-29
Worth Harley Davidson. Yep.
Yeah, and
that's where it ends up. You got live
that's where
music.
it ends up. You got the music, the
Likely,
food, and
food.
you can donate.
Yes,
which is the big point there. So tell people all the different ways they can find out more about this event.
Sure. Facebook is going to be the easiest way to find out about the event. Again, Saturday, July 20th. We'll do registration from 8:30 till 9:45 at the Kansas City Regional Police Academy on Pleasant Valley Road. We'll do kickstands up. We'll be on the road for about 2 hours. Again, it's a fully escorted ride. You do not have to have a Harley. It can be a street bike. It can be a Spider, three-wheel, Can-Ams, whatever you like to ride, as long as it's got a motor and can run about 50, 55 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Come join us.
If they
What
go
about
to
slingshots? I'm sorry. Yeah, those are fun.
don't encourage Mike because he'll try it. So if you go to Facebook, what Facebook page do you go to?
The team's Facebook page. It's spelled out, the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistance Team.
Okay.
It will also, you'll see it on my Facebook page. It's on Jim Murray's Facebook page, A.J. Carrel's Facebook page. We've all shared it out there a number of times, and you'll be able to find the flyer and the link to register for the ride. And you can register right up until the time of the ride. If you don't get registered and you just decide at the last minute you want to show up and ride, be there by 9:30 for the briefing. It will be a safety briefing put on by the law enforcement motorcycle escorts. They will go through what they expect riders to do, stay to the right because they will be passing on the left, then give just an overall safety briefing. And at 10 o'clock, we'll go kickstands up, and we will arrive approximately noon at Worth Harley Davidson on Prairie View, south of Tiffany Springs and I-29. There we'll have live music with Michelle Hawkins and the Moonshiners. If you've never heard Michelle, she has an amazing voice, and she can sing anywhere from the 50s to country to today. An amazing singer. We'll have a silent auction, raffles. If you're riding in the ride, your food is provided. Otherwise, Worth has the cafeteria there that you can order food from. And little sneak peek, one of the things that I know that we're going to have as a silent auction item is a Patrick Mahomes jersey.
Oh, now you're talking.
So come out and get your name on the silent auction for that.
Mike has a man crush on Patrick.
I don't think there's too many Chiefs fans that don't. Let's just be honest about
it. You used to have one for the Kearney quarterback, and
he's gone.
Then Mahomes came along, and you changed your whole post.
We'll see what happens this year.
He ripped that poster right off his ceiling. Yeah. It was sad.
Left us here.
What's your website, just so people can go visit that?
Our website, you can learn more about the team, the history, see some of the officers that we've had the privilege of honoring, is MO, for Missouri, mopolicefuneral.org.
Yep.
And if people are interested, what are the different ways, just to kind of go over this, people, if they're interested in helping you guys, what are all the different ways they can help? Obviously financially, but what are some of the other ways they can help?
We are always looking for good volunteers, people to be a part of the team. Again, you do not have to be in law enforcement. If you're interested in that, contact us, and we can get you an application. We do have an application process that goes through, and it's reviewed by our team leaders to just to make sure that everybody, that person coming on is a good fit,
right?
And that there's probably don't want anybody that has a criminal past working in there, but I'm sorry, Jim.
I was going to say I'm out, but I'm thinking as well, maybe not. I was going to say they probably wouldn't apply, but these days
you never know.
I remember. Well, I'm not going to go into it.
Here's something that's important, though. You do fundraisers, and obviously this the bike ride, the bike run is a fundraiser. What about folks that just absolutely want to write a check, who would like to send you some money? How do they go about doing that?
We would certainly not reject that. The address is on our website.
Right.
Also, I believe it's on the Facebook page as well.
Right.
Feel free to do that if you want to show up that day.
Sure.
For the motorcycle ride, we will take those donations there by cash, check, or credit card.
Right.
You can make donations in person at the ride.
Right, and again, it's a tax deductible 501c3 organization, so it's a great. And honestly, guys, this is the first I've heard of you, and I'm glad that that you're here getting some of this publicity, because it's a neat thing that we've probably seen you in action. Many of us, you're out on the highway, you're out on the road, and you stop for a funeral, and you see this thing go by you, and the procession is obviously, the logistics of this thing is provided by somebody, and we don't even think about it. And you guys,
right here in Kearney, and I mentioned the first funeral that we did, Jeff Taylor's. That funeral was at Pleasant Valley Baptist Church in Liberty. Jeff is buried in Cameron, and we came right up I-35, so we went right through Kearney.
Wow.
We've done that. Many of you well publicized and televised in the Kansas City area. The two Clinton officers, Gary Michael and Ryan Morton. Those were both officers that we had the privilege of providing honors for. Brett Hawkins up in Harrison County back in 2015. So those are all fairly local and things that would have been made a media splash, if you will, that we were involved in.
Mike, if I can, if you don't mind, we also we do get some corporate sponsorship. I didn't mention them because I figured Brian would have a coronary, so I didn't do that. But
I think it's fair to mention them. No, absolutely.
Can I?
Yeah, why not?
I'll overrule Brian. Yes,
he's shaking his head. Yes, he's shaking his head. Yes, Jim.
One of the sponsors is a Kearney organization, the Armory, which is the gun store here in Kearney.
All right, what you're talking about.
Tim Mottram over there, great guy, is one of our corporate sponsors. Poor Boy Oil Company, Dennis Carter. If you're out, and one way to help them is by patronizing their businesses.
Sure.
Obviously, my company, Star Investigations, we support it, and Odessa Auto Auction, which is one of the biggest auto auctions in the area. They are a corporate sponsor. So those guys also step up to the plate and write checks, and not all of them ride motorcycles. Tim will be in the ride as well, though. He and his wife will be there. Maureen, they'll be in the ride with us this year.
Fantastic, and thanks to all those folks who do donate to such a worthy cause. I just think it's fantastic what you guys do. Plus, I noticed that you have a Heroes Spotlight on the webpage, and that's mopolicefuneral.org. And the Heroes Spotlight, of course, is it has profiles of the officers that you've actually provided the service for, and what a neat tribute. If you have a moment, just take a look at the website and click through, and here's and the list goes on and on and on. Unfortunately, but profiles each one of the fallen officers. Very, very cool.
Hey, y'all know our Kearney mayor rides a Harley. Shouldn't we see if we can't get Randy Pogue to come up there? Well, just challenge Randy. Just show up, big boy.
If he's not listening, he ought to be. But yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize. Maybe I did.
What does Randy ride?
How cool is it to be in a city where the mayor, Randy, is actually a Shriner, and Randy rides a full dress Harley Ultra Classic?
I didn't know that. I knew he was a Shriner. I didn't know he rode a motorcycle.
How cool is it to live in a town where your mayor cruises around on a Harley?
Well, it's very cool.
Even more cool when you see it.
Right?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen
it
yet
had
either.
No idea.
No,
Sounds like a challenge for
maybe
Randy.
Let's see him ride it up the stairs. Let's just see how good he is.
Randy's downstairs saying, "Oh my God, they should never gave that guy a microphone."
I think it would be great not only if Randy rode, but he challenged the other mayors in the Northland to come out and either be at the starting or the finishing of the ride and be there to participate.
Do any of the other? I don't know. Do any of the other mayors around here ride?
There are a lot of. I don't know about the mayors. I know several of the police chiefs. Jason Lockridge over at Smithville rides, and so a lot of the other people around do rides.
This much I know: there is no other mayor cooler than Randy
Pogue.
He's got the cool factor.
Agree with that. I would agree with that.
All right, Randy, call those other mayors and say, "Hey, you got a Harley? We're going on a ride."
And again, you don't have to ride. You can just come support it. Come to Worth Harley Davidson and participate.
All right, here's your stupid question of the week.
No, I've already asked it.
Oh, all right, never mind.
All right, this is our second stupid question.
Any of you guys going to Sturgis?
No.
Been there, done that, and got more T-shirts than I care for.
You were like, okay, I'm finished with it. When back in the day, did you like the way I salvaged that again? I was shocked at how many guys actually went up to Sturgis. How many of the officers we had? They weren't necessarily in the motorcycle unit. They they just rode and they went to Sturgis, and it got more and more every year. I think it's kind of dropped off a little bit for that reason.
I don't know.
We did that and all that.
Right.
There are some groups and police chiefs that ride. Kevin Chrisman, the police chief over at Parkville. Kevin's a good guy, and I know he rides. And Les knows all these guys.
I think he used to go up there, or he went up there a few times. Does he still go? Okay, I didn't know he still goes. I know one of my friends, and I'm not going to dime him out by name.
What happens in Sturgis stays in Sturgis.
He rode a Honda motorcycle up to Sturgis, and it was not well received.
No, that happens. That happens. Yeah, but that definitely will not happen in the ride.
No, you can, that's a good point to reiterate. Right. I know you said it earlier, but you can ride anything in this ride. Well, any motorcycle in the ride. It does not have to be a Harley or anything like that.
Right, yeah. Horses have a hard time keeping up, but motorcycles. Well, and
Mike will show up on his bicycle. So any motorcycle, and just to make sure everybody understands, you do not have to be law enforcement to do it.
Absolutely not. No, you just need to be a person.
Excuse me, Jim. You just touched my leg there. That's all right.
Well,
totally fine. No. Yeah, what, Brian?
AJ's been doing that to me since we got here.
It's a little cozy in this room. Anything else, fellas, that, before I know we're coming up toward the end of this program, but anything else that's on your mind that you just want to make sure that people understand about your organization, the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistance Team, established 2008. It says so right here on your website. I would hope that you wouldn't have to be in existence.
That would be ideal, the day that we don't have to be in existence. But we understand, and those in law enforcement understand that it's part of it is reality. Mm-hmm. I won't say it's part of the job, because it shouldn't be assumed it's part of the job.
Sure.
But it's a reality. We know we're going to lose officers. There's a program out there to try to reduce that number called Below 100, and that would be amazing to get the number of officers killed each year around the country to below 100. Because we are averaging 140 to 160 right now per year around the country, and it's just too many. And we would love to see that day where we did not have to be around to assist agencies.
Do you guys do non-line of duty deaths?
We do assist with non-line of duty deaths and retirees.
I see.
There's certain levels of honor that go with each of those, and that lessens, as you can imagine, as you go from a non-line of duty death to a retiree.
Oh, I see.
But we do assist with those if requested.
Okay. And so before we go, one more time, let's hear about the ride on the 20th and the information with that. Where do you sign up? Just in case you're joining late or whatever, and you guys are pointing at each other.
You guys look like us.
Hey, I know where we're going. That's all I know.
You could run a radio station. Just show up ill-prepared.
It's through Eventbrite. It's MOLEFAT 2019.eventbrite.com. That'll take you right to the registration page, and you can register the bike, the driver, also a passenger, and you can also just make a donation through that website as well. If you can't come out that day and you want to donate, you can do that as well.
And then if you don't want to be, or you're not involved in the ride, you can meet up at the Harley Davidson over off I-29 in Prairie View, and you've got food, you've got music, and you can donate over there, and you've got the raffle as well.
Absolutely.
With the Patrick Mahomes jersey, the silent auction.
So we know Mike will be up there for the raffle of the jersey.
I would imagine I probably can't afford the silent auction. As high as that thing's probably going to go, I don't have that kind of change.
$25.
We can take your credit card number, Mike.
I'm sure you will. Well, in fact, I think you should consider, folks out there, your credit card would be taken happily by the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistant Team. It is a 501c3 organization, which means it is tax deductible. It is a terrific organization that provides just an amazing service for fallen officers, and I salute you guys. Seriously, thank you so much, for being with us today and helping folks understand and teach us a little bit about what you do.
And Mike, if you don't like motorcycles and don't want to do the ride, in October, we want to come back before then. We've got a golf tournament coming up over at Smithville in
there
October.
You go. Yeah.
and play golf with us.
Yeah.
That'll be
Yeah, I
our
don't-
second big fundraiser of the year. Those are the two big fundraisers that we do.
Okay.
October 11th at Paradise Point.
You know, and before we go, I mean, I just want to thank you all at 102.7 for having us on here.
You bet, AJ.
All of our volunteers that help put all these rides together. Jim, Aaron Hamner, these are all behind the scenes folks. They're not law enforcement. They do step in and help, and it allows us to do what we do.
Right.
And also a quick shout out to your sheriff for letting you do what you do.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. That's actually a big deal. That's a very big deal. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And thank you for everything you do too, as a sheriff. And we just, we really appreciate first responders and law enforcement. We're big fans of them here at the radio station, and certainly folks in Kearney appreciate everything you do. And I know it's not an easy thing to do, and we appreciate it. But don't miss this bike fundraiser. Get yourself up. If you're not going to ride a bike, get yourself up to the Worth Harley-Davidson store on Saturday, July the 20th, 2019, and help them out. Bring a little extra change and your credit card and whatever else you got, and help these guys out. With the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistance Team, we have been visiting today with Les Kerr, A.J. Carrel, and Jim Murray, their biggest fan, and I don't know, might be a big fan of the radio station too.
I love the radio station.
Yeah, hey, we appreciate that.
I want to come back.
I set you up there, and you just knocked him down. Nice job. Way to go, Jim. You've been listening to Kearney Live. We'll see you next week.